What's up, guys? Day Trading Knockouts here. So I still got the clap for you, but unfortunately, we got a problem. I don't have my face cam up. I don't know why exactly this is happening. What's happening? If you hear music in the background, please ignore that. But that's just the bar next door. But what I wanted to let you know is that first off, in terms of what we're going to be looking for on the weekly analysis, so we're just going to do a quick analysis, especially with all the Jerome Powell updates that happened. So, with that being said, guys, let's get into the video. And again, sorry for the inconvenience for the the whole no camera thing. But first and foremost, in regards to what we got off of the chart, so let's take it all the way to the weekly time frame chart. So we do have a naked bullish body candle with very minimal wick at the lows and a very strong close around the highs. In terms of what we are getting from a trend perspective, we are experiencing a uptrend with higher highs and higher lows, and interesting significances from the past 3 weeks right here, 1, 2, 3, with all this buying pressure. We showed a lot of support here at the previous highs at around $523.83. So the next thing in regards to take into consideration would be, one, no new patterns have formed due to the fact that only chart patterns tend to form whenever there are signs of failure from a trend perspective. So if there was signs of bearish strength and the bulls were failing, that's when chart patterns will occur. And there's nothing new that have formed. However, there are some signs of things showing with the head and shoulders neckline being formed. And let me see here. Oh, and also another thing to take into consideration is another bullish data point is when you take a Fibonacci retracement from the lows to the highs, the 38.2% retracement isn't exactly on that previous high, but it's somewhere around that area. So that's just something to take into consideration. Now let's see here. And lastly, in terms of the weekly chart, we can look at the volume profile right here. So at what is another thing to see? We got a lot of support above the $512 weekly volume high note profile, and we are far above it, and we're having more data accumulate to the upside. So that's something else to take into consideration. Let's take it on down to the daily. Oh, hold on, not with this dumbass. My bad, guys. So on the daily chart now, when we look at it, where are we from a trend perspective, and what are we seeing? So we're seeing that we are in an uptrend the same way as we are in the weekly chart. However, there's a little bit more data to take into consideration. First off, we are currently at the highs, the same with the weekly, but we had a gap up and we had consolidation above the gap. So this is a key interest, a key thing to take into consideration that we will be looking out for with the rest of our analysis. And real quick, also in regard, before I get even further down that, let's look at the weekly expected move. So the positive weekly expected move is bullish, so take that into consideration. And because it's bullish because it's a higher high, and the negative weekly expected move is a higher low, so that's something else to take into consideration. And then in terms of where are we from a trend perspective, again, as mentioned, sorry guys, higher highs, higher lows. I didn't mean trend perspective, I mean any new chart patterns occurring. Nothing new has occurred, again, because there's no signs of bearish strength and signs of failure for the bulls and anything of that nature. But there still is the daytime from head and shoulders, which is potential for the future, but at the moment is not valid. It's just something potential to look out for in the future if we get price acceptance below, And in terms of what the context is, I would say overall it is very bullish from a price action perspective and a volume perspective as well. So when we take it down to the 1 hour time frame chart right here, let me see here. So let me see. Key areas to take into consideration. If we have any price acceptance, so as long as we stay above $539.59 all the way to $536.91, we are bullish. Anything in between $536.91 to $532.95, we are neutral. And anything below $532.96, below the 1 hour support level, that is when we start to become more bearish and bears start to step in. Now, in terms of scenarios and setups I'm going to be looking out for, so first and foremost, one thing that I want to take into consideration, I will adjust my trades setups depending on how we open, if we open with a gap up or gap down close. But what I'm going to be avoiding is I don't want to take any bullish trades unless we get a retest at $539.59 on the Monday session. If we don't get that, I'm not even interested in a bullish setup. And second, I don't want to chase the highs. So again, if we just rip on up, I'm not going to be taking any bullish setups, and then everything else is just typical to what I do. Don't chase the market, have higher standards for my trades, and don't take any trades without the proper 15-minute time frame confirmation chart. Now, my setups will be this. Bullish scenario number one would be looking first off, making sure we get a retest at around $539.50. And then after we get that retest and it acts as support, we would then look for a 15-minute bullish chart pattern at around the 16.8 Fibonacci retracement at $541.55. And we would be targeting $543.20, and then $544.20 would be the optimal target. My second bullish scenario would be after getting a gap fill. That could happen tomorrow, some of the time later in the week. But I would be looking for bullish chart patterns around here and looking for a gap fill reversal. And in that scenario, we would be targeting $539, and then $540 is the optimal target. And lastly, the only bearish scenario that I have would be looking to fill the gap. And that would be if we get a 15-minute lower bearish chart pattern below $539.59, and we would target $538, and then $537 would be the optimal target. Last thing to look at would be to look at the quad market internals. And we're basically going to see what this week's action meant in terms of who was more in control. And as you can see here, pretty bearish stuff for the most part. The only thing I would say is this. Overall, it's bearish on the dollar sign Volt. You can see here that all throughout the week, bears had more control, and anything that was bullish. Let me see here. Sorry, guys, 1 second. 611, 611, 611. So yeah. What I would say is that for the bulls, they did step up, but everything after we had that step up on the 11th, because we had bullish momentum all the way upside with high close, and then we had a gap up. So I would say that there is signs of new money buyers. However, everything past that, it does appear as if the buyers started to run out of steam. As you can see on the Volt, everything was pretty bearish, and then after that, we the dollar sign ADD is bearish, the dollar sign Volt is bearish, and then the dollar sign tick is also pretty bearish as well. Not super bearish on the tick, but decently bearish. And those are just things to take into consideration. From what the internals are telling me, I would assume that buyers were strong this week. The gap up was legit. However, it does appear that they might have run out of steam. And what would be the best thing to look out for, which validates my setups, would be to look for a proper pullback. And there's potential for a gap fill to happen later on this week, especially with what the internals are telling me. So, with that being said, guys, those are my scenarios. Those are my setups on what to look out for the SPY. So, besides that, guys, I do hope you all have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see y'all Monday. And look for another video tomorrow. It'll be in regards to scalping and what I'm starting to do and implement so I can become a better trader and be more consistently profitable as well. But again, besides that, guys, it's always a pleasure doing this, and see y'all later. Peace.